Hi, I'm Chuck Dorsett for Weaver Leather Supply, and this is the Leather Element. If you've got a question for us or a good idea for Leather Element, drop it in the comment box below. Also, if you want to know when our videos release, just click your notifications. You'll know exactly when these come out. For us crafters, profit is not our motivation. We're more interested in the journey and the outcome. The reason I say this, a little bit of a sales pitch here, but when we buy tools, we need those tools to work for us. If they're inexpensive, even better. So how about 6 inexpensive tools that are absolutely going to be a help at our shop? And let's start with a very inexpensive tool. Our lowly wooden scratch-all, and the only reason I say that is because this sits at the end of my tool rack. All those beautiful expensive tools, this will actually do more than any one of those. Well, first off, it's a scratch-all, so we can always mark our patterns. Yeah, not bad. I can see it. It's a clean, tight line. Or we go a little harder, or we even make 2 passes with this. Yeah, there we go. Well, first off, that's deep enough to actually be almost a score, but at the same time, that's deep enough and clean enough to where even a swivel knife will follow that line easily. Now, next up, not the intended use of this tool by any means, but this happens all the time. I glue 2 pieces together. I don't give them ample time to dry, and I punch. Well, now my revolving punch or my dry punch, we've got contact cement or white glue up in there. Those plugs are going to stick in there like cement. What we can do is we can come in, there we are, from both ends, and we can start to work those plugs out. Yeah, there we go. We can clear that. Now, here's a warning. Our tendency is to put our awl down. Let's put our drive on that and then hit that with our mallet. Let's don't do that. There are all kinds of ways that can go south. But if we just take our time, we'll be able to clear that in no time at all. There we go. All right, last up here, and I think one of the most helpful places. Say we've got 2 pieces coming together. We've got a flap or the corner on a pocket. Well, we can always use a chisel. Well, if we use our flat chisel in a square corner, it's not going to look great. We can go with our diamond chisel. Either way we go here, that thread is not going to cleanly match that square corner. But with our awl, let's take that on a little pallet of cardboard. Let's drive that through. There we go. Now, when we come in and out with our chisel, that is going to be an absolutely square corner, and it's going to perfectly match that outside corner. Not as inexpensive as our scratch-all, but a hand rougher is all the help in the world for any of us that have tried to glue a panel or a window or a pocket onto a nice finished top grain. Any type of glue is just going to roll off. So let's rough the area behind that. Really all we're doing here, let's just break up that top grain. There we go. And it's as easy as that. Now that glue will stick. Same over here on the flesh side. If we've got a nice finished flesh side. In fact, this is our holster leather. Tape is just not going to hold that. Contact cement, absolutely. But now, let's rough our edge. Just 2 passes. And really, that's all we need. Now, contact cement is going to work nicely. Most all of us crafters hand sew. I love the look of it, but it is imperative that our stitch line is consistent. We've got chisels that will absolutely make that happen. But for those of us that make a lot of scabbards and sheaths, right here we've got 2 8-9s back to back. Then we've got a welt in between that. Our chisels, 4 and 6, just not going to work. Well, now technically they will, but with that kind of a thickness, if our chisel wavers even a little bit, the back stitch is going to look terrible. So we can back down to a 2 or a 1 time, but we need to be able to mark this. And a spacer wheel is perfect. Now technically, this is a quick change stitch marking wheel. But the nice thing here, we get both 5 stitches per inch and 6 stitches per inch. So right here, all we have to do is let's just follow that groove line. Yeah, we can absolutely see that. And curves, same thing, not an issue. There we go. And that's one place we absolutely want a consistent stitch line. Now another good point here, say we don't want to add a stitch line, but we want to make it look that way. Say a belt, good example. Yeah, there we go. We look like we have a stitch line. It's a great tool to have in our shop. Here's two inexpensive products that I absolutely rely on. Well, first off, marking black or dark leather forever. That's been a headache. Well, maybe let me back up. Marking it, not such a problem. Seeing it, that's an issue. Now, straight lines, not such a problem. But if we've got a circular cut, curves, trying to cut those, we are not going to get a good cut. So how about a leather marking pen? In fact, with these, we can mark our leather, clean, visible, easy to see, and then it rubs right off. If it doesn't come completely off, let's go with a rag, a little bit moist, and there we go. All the difference in the world. Now, the next up, our double-sided tape, and I love this. For my shop, I keep these absolutely in stock because I burn through them so fast. And we have these in multiple widths. Now, we would think chrome, but this is absolutely going to work on veg tan as well. Very strong. Now, right here, great example, small example. But let's say we're just going to do a small dice pouch. Well, let's just tape these two pieces of suede together. Now, on this, I tend to like to go with a thinner. This is the 3/32 inch, simply because, yeah, there we go. When I sew this, I'm going to reverse it. And I don't want that tape visible on that bend. But let's drop some tape in. Press that down. Actually, we've got a pretty good bond there. The last tool up, inexpensive and almost comical, it's a lace cutter. And a lot of us have never seen one of these work, but it's a great, inexpensive little tool. And the blade, same blade as our hand skiver. Inexpensive, very sharp, and easy to replace. But the best part of this, we can cut lace, absolutely. Longer strap, we can drag that along and cut nice 1/8 lace. Well, in fact, we've got multiple slots here for different widths of lace. But let's do this. Let's take a piece of scrap out of my scrap bin. Probably not ever going to use this. How about we turn this into some usable lace? So let's take this on our blade here. Let's see if we can see that. Yeah, so we've got our blade in here. The cutting edge is towards the very center of the tool. So let's cut or punch a hole in the center of our scrap. And I'm just going to do my best to get that started. There we go. Now let's grab the tail. And I am still going. I bet we're going to get 12 feet of lace out of this single piece of scrap. And there we are. Yeah. Now, I don't mind throwing that away, but here's the best part. Look at all this lace, okay? My table is 3 feet long, so let's see how much we've actually got. We've got 15 feet of lace out of that piece of scrap. That's saving money, but also right there. This is our Pioneer Chrome. Makes a good lace. So yeah, absolutely worth the money there. Some of the cheapest tools are the biggest help to us. And like I said, profit, that's not our motivation. Let's enjoy every step of the journey. And at the end of that journey, we've got a gorgeous project. I hope this helps. Thanks for taking time to watch The Leather Element. Good luck with your projects.